Now, a longtime collaborator of Danny was Terry Winograd, and Terry really wanted to be here. So he actually went to the effort of making a short video on Danny, which I'm going to show now. It's only 5 minutes. And it's interesting, it complements everything I've just said, but I got to find it.
I'm delighted to be able to contribute to this special day for my dear colleague and friend, Danny Bobrow. I was sorry not to be able to be there in person with you, but I'm away on a trip that was scheduled long before I had heard about this wonderful event. It gives me great pleasure to see Danny being honored for all he has achieved and all he has given to the field and to his colleagues over the years. Danny played a critical role in my own career, serving as a beacon in the two big decisions that made everything possible. I first heard of Danny in 1965 when I was an undergraduate at a small college where we had barely heard of computers. I read an article in Scientific American describing research at MIT, where they had gotten computers to solve problems like, if Mary is twice as old as Anne was when Anne was 4 years older than Joe. And I had gotten to where I was in my academic career by being able to answer problems like that very well, and I was amazed that they could get a computer to do that kind of thing at all. I was inspired to learn more, both about linguistics and computing. I ended up applying to MIT and following Danny's footsteps into the same lab, with the same advisors, and continuing on in the same track of research. Danny had already graduated by the time I got there. He was at BBN, and I went to visit him there, where again I was amazed at the work he was doing with Warren Titleman to get the Lisp system to do what I mean. Danny gave me good advice and encouragement in my own work as I continued in my dissertation. Then in the summer of 1972, he played a much more direct role when he invited me to spend the summer at this crazy new research lab in California. To make a long story short, I came to Park, I saw what was going on there, and the following year I applied for a job at Stanford. The big appeal for me of being in Palo Alto was being able to work with Danny and the Natural Language Group at Xerox PARC. For the next decade and more, that was the home for my writing, for my research, and for my friendships. Through Danny, I met Alan Kay, Don Norman, Rich Fikes, Ron Kaplan, a whole bunch of people who I've continued to admire and be involved with over the years. I marveled at Danny's ability to span many areas, from the most theoretical issues of intelligence and cognition to the details of building Lisp machines. I also saw his deep devotion to collaborating. Over those years, he collaborated on many now classic papers and books. Bobrow and Collins, Bobrow and Norman, Bobrow and Goldstein, Bobrow and Stefik, Bobrow and Deutsch, and the work I did with him on a knowledge representation language, Bobrow and Winograd. Danny's best work has always been when he was able to work with another researcher where his deep understanding and intelligence mesh with a different perspective of his co-author. Many of the people at this event have been the beneficiaries of his skill as an intelligence amplifier who knows how to evoke new ideas and build on them. We all owe him a tremendous debt. After the mid-'80s, Danny and I went off in different paths. I went wading into the swamps of philosophy and then came to focus on human-computer interaction and design. Danny climbed into the heights of programming language design, as high as Alice's Restaurant at least, and has made contributions to a wide variety of different research topics relating both to computers and to the people who use them. Although our professional activities have diverged, I have always valued my friendship with Danny and have been delighted to see the many accomplishments he has continued to produce. I have often missed not only the intellectual stimulation, but also the companionship. Some of my fondest memories are of the long jogs we took with Don Norman around the Palo Alto hills surrounding Park, and of teaching Danny's daughter to make square matzo balls at our Passover Seder. I'm sure it will be often noted today that in addition to his keen intelligence, Danny has a warmth of heart that is all too rare in brilliant people. So Danny, I send my warmest wishes for this well-deserved day of honor, and I look forward to many more. As you continue in your creative thinking, your consistent leadership, and your deep dedication to advancing our knowledge in artificial intelligence and computing. Thanks for all you've done for the field and for me. I value your friendship.
I wanted to add a few things of my own to my experience of Danny. You know, if you need to have a brainstorming session on something or something new, and the person that you most want on your side is Danny. He is absolutely brilliant. He knows partly what you're tapping into. He knows a lot about a lot of things, but you're also tapping into he knows a little bit about everything. And that's one feature. But the second feature is, which I really appreciate from Danny, is that he doesn't compete with you he doesn't try to sell you his latest idea. He's like the opposite of it. He adopts, when you brainstorm with Danny, he'll adopt my agenda. And he's very good and running with that. So that in that way, he's extremely collaborative and wonderful to work with. And as Terich has said, Danny has a warmth for people, so he does all this collaboration and really in an organically positive atmosphere. So Danny, I found Danny wonderful to work with. And yeah, thank you, Danny. It's been great, and I hope it will continue.